it is the Working Brother back at you with another talk. This time we've got Tim Kirby from Russia Hardcore. Tim, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm always happy to be on the program, happy to be back in action with you.
Excellent. It's good to have you back, and it is good to be back in action. To all the subscribers, let me do this, go full screen. All the subscribers, sorry for the glitchy quality. There's a bunch of updates that need to be done. I've been MIA for a while, had some things to take care of. Thank you for being patient. To all the 3 people who unsubscribed, peace out. And everybody else, thank you for sticking around, and thank you for your support both on Patreon and elsewhere. In the comment sections and so on. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Oh, wait. I haven't done this in so long, I forgot. We've got a subscribe prompt. If you're new here, subscribe.
Oh, wow. How professional.
I know. It's nuts what the computers can do these days. So, Tim, I sent you a message, actually a forward of a post that I posted earlier today about the fact that it's International Men's Day, and you said, let's record. So I said, okay.
This is very rare for me, my friend, Working Brother, because I don't do anything in life spontaneously ever. But I do know that this evening I had free, and this is actually a very good topic and a good topic to discuss with you because let's just put it this way: you're not an uptight person. To be able to discuss
this is a comedy show. Yeah. Let's get the disclaimers out of the way. This is a comedy show. Nothing here is serious.
Comedy all the way.
Everything that resembles reality is just pure coincidence. So, International Men's Day, I sent you this and you said it's a good topic to talk about. I agree, it is a good topic to talk about. Considering none of my subscribers had heard about International Men's Day, I asked, and like the comments were like, nope. I originally heard it. Let me see if I can find the ad here. There it is. Let me just get rid of my personal details. There you go. So it was a bookstore, a Serbian bookstore that had a 30% discount for International Men's Day, and I was like, wait a second, it's International Men's Day. How do I not know that it's International Men's Day?
And in Serbian, what does Svetsky mean? Because that in Russian would be like secular.
No, it's like worldly or like worldwide.
But it's derived from the word for world, but it generally kind of means secular. Interesting. Or do you mean like global?
Yeah, that kind of
thing. So in Russian it's worldly in the sense of being not of like God, but of being like human stuff. So that's interesting. Okay.
I don't know. There's a lot of mushkarca. Mushkaraca, meaning the plural of men. So yeah, basically the bookstore drew my attention to it, and then I went online and I found some interesting little details about International Men's Day. I think this was from like a British health website, and this is what my post was based on. And it reads, for those that are listening or not looking at the screen, 76% of suicides are men, 85% of homeless are men, 70% of homicide victims are men, 40% of domestic abuse victims are men, and men are the majority of violent crime. Majority victims, of violent crime. Men on average serve 64% longer in prison, and men on average are 3.4 times more likely to be in prison than women when both committed the same crime. What do you have to say about that?
Well, what I have to say about it is that we men are bad at marketing, and we human beings, I think, have gone very, very far away from looking at the world in a reasonable way. I think if we were to show that chart, that chart, there's how people look at that chart today. Of course, there's various political leanings, but if you were to show that to someone, I don't know, 200 or 300 years ago, they would just be like, of course, because we have to protect women and children. We're the men. That's our job. You see what I mean? Because
in your view, this is normal. And it should be this way?
Not that it should be this way, but what's happening in this is a natural reflection of the sort of the way that men do things. As in, I kind of made this joke a bunch of times, so I'll share it with you. It's an old one, is that, women are really frustrating because they're indecisive. But then again, men are the ones who get gambling addictions and commit suicide. So maybe our decisiveness has a fault to it. You know what I mean? So
yeah, maybe
it's one of these things. But the other problem is that what we could say is that the sort of male inherent necessity to sort of sacrifice oneself for society. The problem is that used to be, something that would be heroic or something that you could, earn respect for, or that society would praise. So now men sort of have this to have to be the sort of provider, sacrificer gender, while at the same time being trounced upon and downtrodden and this, that, and the other. But we should probably actually go through this point by point, because I have already forgotten the second half of the bullet list, and I'm going to look back.
When I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who bought me a coffee, even when I was off on my thing, and the coffee powers this thing. But I also want to clear up that I still haven't withdrawn any money from Buy Me a Coffee / whatever it's called.
Why not?
Their actual company, because I sent it to myself and my bank. It was like, can we get details that it's actually a donation? How do we know it's a donation? And what is this company?
Oh, geez, you guys have that sort of very European of you.
Yeah, and the bottom line is I just haven't found the time to go like bicker with the bank, but eventually I'll get it through. So yeah, if you want to buy me a coffee.
All right. Well, not from Russia, my friend.
Get
I don't know how I'm going to be able to pay for that.
Yeah, not you.
Oh, okay.
I can send you my Tinkoff account if you want to donate to me.
Ooh, wow!
if you're from Russia, I do.
Oh my gosh!
Wow. Those who may not know, I actually met Tim. We saw each other.
Yes, we met in real life.
Hilarious.
Well, you sent the Tinkoff account. That's awesome, man. Now you're all
when I was back there.
International shenanigans. But anyways, about with
76. When I told you we should find some statistics for the show, you aptly and correctly said that statistics can be manipulated, and statistics indeed can be manipulated, and it is hilarious. Because I did statistics in university, like as a class, so like I know exactly how you can manipulate both the samples and the everything that's being reported.
Yeah, I even know one person who for many years worked in market research. And essentially, what is market research? You're at a big company, and you pay this other company to organize data to get the result you want. Or it's the same thing. Like, well, why does the Western politicians, we had this whole Ukrainian war, but all the information should have said no, because they read the information that they want to read. So statistics tend to actually be very flawed. Or, for example, now, my friend, we're getting into the world of woke statistics. I just saw an article that was, in theory, not a joke. It should have been a real article that says that actually, in the hunter-gatherer days, women were the actual warrior and hunting gender.
Lionesses, obviously. How can you doubt that? Science.
Well, actually, their argument was because that women have wider hips, not because of babies per se, but because that allows you to drag more effectively, essentially drag the carcasses of animals. So, you know what I mean?
So that caveman meme of the guy hitting the girl on the head and pulling her by the hair is supposed to be reversed, basically?
Well, it's sort of like the thing where, okay, if you carry a sack of potatoes over your shoulder, over time it kind of beats up on your shoulder. Whereas if you kind of pull your arms to each other and carry it under your armpit, you get a lot less tired. I think it's based on that logic. But why do I bring this up? Because you could say, well, Tim, we need to really break this down scientifically. But now even the science is bullshit. And maybe it always has been. Because another thing is, someone who lives in Russia, people tend to treat the massive Russophobia that we've experienced over the last 5 or 10 years and the lies around it. That Russia's just a gas station with a nuclear missile. It's primed to fall. I do have to tell you that it seems as though, for the most part, or maybe throughout the entire history of media, so somewhere when the British Empire started producing newspapers to present, that attitude towards Russia has been present. They don't care. So all of Russian history read from the standpoint of Western media is essentially false. So that's why I don't really think a lot of these arguments need to be particularly settled when we get into these sort of statistical or bureaucratic or like reading the little footnotes, because so many things are so filled with falsehood, it doesn't matter. And our ancient Greek predecessors and great philosophers and idea makers didn't do things that way. So if it was good enough for Confucius and goddamn Plato, it's good enough for us, boy.
Oh, I forgot to load up a bunch of memes. I was going to load up a bunch of memes.
Oh, I thought you were going to say I forgot to press record. I was like, dang, that was a decent joke, that last one. I felt good about that joke. Oh,
no,
man.
We'll let people decide if it was a good joke, but we are recording.
This is going back to statistics. I don't care. It can be 99 to 1. I'm the one, baby. I'm standing by that one.
So 76% of suicides are men.
Yeah. Now, that's... I'm pretty sure that is true. That the overwhelming
these are UK probably numbers, by the way. These are UK numbers, so like we have to keep that in mind.
But so the question is it's one of these things where is there sort of a crisis of suicide? That's really the question that a lot of people raise. And again, it's kind of hard to say, but I'll put it this way: considering the fact that we live in a time where all of our needs are met. We don't have to work really that much just to survive. It's amazing how absolutely miserable we are. And I can tell you that I know 3 people who've committed suicide, all Americans, okay? And it seems kind of ridiculous. It really, really does.
May I ask if it's not too intrusive, were they male or female, considering the subject?
2 male, 1 female. The female, though, however, was
true
related...
statistics, basically.
Yeah, so the female, the one thing that you should know is that she actually out that she had, I believe, terminal cancer. It was something terminal, and she chose to not rot away. She kind of already was sort of halfway down the road
like
to death.
Physician-assisted suicide type of thing.
Well, she killed herself, but she was
okay, yeah.
It was 100%,
there was no physician assistant.
No, it was
yeah.
I'll put it this way: there is a little bit of a difference between sort of staring down this dark road where you know you're going to die anyways, in a very short, painful period of time, versus the other 2 cases where there was absolutely nothing of that sort. These people had their whole lives ahead of them, this, that, and the other. One thing I can tell you that we need to bring up that is related to a lot of times when people commit suicide in sort of a public way, as in these mass shootings and all that, is one thing that if there's a book, I believe it's called Going Postal, that I actually read, one of the few books I've actually read, Going Postal. I forgot who wrote it, but I think he actually spent a lot of time in Russia, and that's how I found out about it. But anyways, it's about these mass shooters, and one thing that links all of them is a lack of sex. That's where a lot of male misery comes from. And so the thing is that why a lot of people who are the sort of men's rights activist sort of types are concerned is that one of the main sources of misery that could drive people to end their own lives in a world where we have not a whole lot of want is the complete and total lack of sex, and the ever-growing statistic that 1 out of 3 American men under the age of 30 does not know what a woman feels like. And boy, that could really make you want to end it all.
But is it really the lack of sex per se, or is it more the lack of intimacy and the lack of socialization and the lack of opportunity for even something close to sex? Is the sex really the measure, is what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Because like society has gone in a direction that where like, the MGTOW movement and whatever was a reaction to what had happened already 20, 30 years ago with the, brainwashing of women's culture and so on and so forth.
Well, MGTOW is essentially, it's sort of saying like, Bill Gates and a Great Reset, I'm going to do exactly what you want me to do, but I'm going to think that it's cool to do it. And then I'm fighting the system by masturbating till I die. That's MGTOW.
I wouldn't simplify MGTOW that much. It depends on how much you've And like
Um,
if you're talking about like Sandman, then yeah, maybe. But
well,
like I was MGTOW before it had a name. Let's put it that way. Like because basically, full disclosure, during the bombing of Yugoslavia or the
yeah.
breakup of Yugoslavia, which lasted 10 years, much like is happening in Kiev, there were parties in Belgrade and elsewhere in Serbia. Because that's something about the like Serbian spirit, I guess, and maybe even Slav spirit, which is like fuck it, we're gonna party.
Yeah,
Um,
Slavs are going to party regardless. It doesn't matter.
so so what I'm getting to is like even back then as a child, like literally a child, um, pre legal age, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I realized that like a lot of society being the clubbing and women and this like exposure to like modern values has
Hmm.
eroded away at like the family structure and like what men and women are supposed to be in theory.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So even then I had this like kind of MGTOW-ish attitude towards the
Mhm.
whole dating scene of like they're playing games, so let's play games. You know what I mean? Um,
Actually, I
where
don't know what you mean. So
well,
they're playing.
if women are monkey branching, as it's called,
Yeah.
then why not pretend to be a higher branch than you actually are? You know what
Oh
I mean?
yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with trying to present a good image, but
No, no,
I
it's
don't
not about
think.
presenting a good image. It's about using the situation, abusing the like the game, so to speak. But in any case,
Hmm.
um, that's a very deep subject of MGTOW. Maybe we'll get into that if somebody leaves a comment and wants us to discuss MGTOW in more
Well,
detail.
well,
By the
hopefully
way,
they
for
will be.
those who
Well,
don't
well, the one
know,
thing is, hold on, but before we totally dump MGTOW here,
go on.
we're putting the jokes a little bit aside here, is that MGTOW is, of course, the sort of natural reaction to what's been happening. You're a person stuck in the Western world. Let's just say you're a lot younger, and essentially, you're put in a situation where it's like, well, how do you meet women? If you try to meet women online, women really lean towards that top 5 or 10 or 15% of guys. And what if you're not one of them and don't feel you can be one of them? Actually, to be honest, you probably can, but most guys aren't willing to do the work and try to do that. So it's like, okay, so they're going to lose on that front. Can they try to meet women like at work or at their universities? Well, now it's scary because, who knows? There's the whole sexual harassment thing. They could get fired. They could get in a lot of trouble. What if something happens during the process of intimacy and then she tells the police a different story, right? There's that whole thing.
Yeah,
It's
it's like
essentially that.
minefield. It's a minefield that
Yeah,
has
it's
been
a sort of a
it's
minefield, and one of the options of this minefield is then it's like I can't win this game, so I'm not going to play. So I get that about MGTOW, but essentially the problem is it's not so much a game that you really can afford to give up on because
in the
essentially, like
in the
one of
sense
the
of
things,
procreation, yeah, and like your reason for
yeah,
existence and being a man, as in like wanting to procreate. Yeah, I
yeah,
agree.
and especially if we look at this thing again from a sort of Western mindset, because a lot of the MGTOW community tends to skew libertarian, so they think about everything from their own perspective about how I win. Well,
Hmm.
their individual win is the loss of society. It's the loss of humanity, this, that, and the other. So essentially, MGTOW is a logical response, but like I was joking, it actually is a response that really works out. For the people who have put in all of these nightmarish rules that destroy men's ability to essentially find any sort of happiness, the response to it is to just sort of accept it and die out. And although
But at
it's
the same time,
logical,
not
I don't
really.
think it's beneficial.
Listen, not really, because like if you, at least back then, I don't know, I haven't
Yeah.
listened to MGTOW in about 10 years, but like at least back then, most of the MGTOW community was talking about, don't give up, just give up on Western women. Because, like,
Well, yeah,
Western
there's a
liberalized,
passport
poison,
thing.
purple hair women are the problem. If you
Yeah.
want to find a decent woman, go to Eastern Europe or, like, Southeast Asia type of thing. But the point is, even those places have now become saturated.
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
culture from the
Well,
West.
it all really depends. It all really depends on more than anything on what the laws are. Okay, so one of the things about Russia and why, despite the fact that I honestly don't think the women here are that different from women anywhere else. I think a lot of these gender issues wind up being more universal than I think is advertised on the internet. But one of the main things is that if you own whatever you own before a marriage starts is yours to keep. And that's one thing that changes the entire game and dynamic. There is so much less risk here. Furthermore, there's a certain maximum amount of money that the government can say that you can pay in alimony. So
I could be wrong,
essentially,
but it's the same in Serbia, I believe. The like you keep what you
that
had
I can't
before.
tell you. You guys are inside the
Yeah.
European nightmare now, so who knows?
No,
But
we're not.
essentially,
We're not. We're not officially. We're just wannabe trying to be.
oh, well, some of you are. A certain paid off minority is. But so essentially, when you get into at least the Russian legal structure, you're still able. I'll put it this way: if you get sort of trounced upon, it's kind of more your fault. Because the hard part is it's really hard to fight the system. The system is hard. Fighting this girlfriend of yours in a more intellectual sense of fight, not in a direct bayonet type of fight, is not. And it's just something where we all have to try to grow up and become men and learn some of the things that especially the sort of red pill movement has shared about dealing with women, because ultimately they work. It all works, man. It really does.
No, there's a lot of things that are, human nature that can't be.
Yeah, but the thing is, it can only work where there's the proper legal context. So if we do approach one day where we do have true globalization, as Alex Jones would say, where everything is globalized and we're all part of the new world order, and every country adopts the sort of policies that there are in the West, then that is the point where essentially humanity is lost and men have lost. It's done. Because you really, as an individual, can't fight the state. But as long as there's plenty of countries on Earth where that is not the case, guess what? You can win by relocating, and the passport bros are right. The problem is the passport bros tend to create this illusion that it's like, okay, that really, as Richard Cooper would say, you should never lead with your money. And they tend to go to poorer country, show that they have money to impress these girls, and they can go from being virgin to not virgin, but then they're sort of seen as beta bucks deluxe, as our friend in Australia calls
Beta
it. And that is also not quite the status you want, but it's better than being a lowly worm. So you're at least human, but you're low tier human on the scale of things.
Beta Bucks Deluxe. I have no idea what that even means, and I'm sure I don't want to find out. I mean, I get it, but let's move on.
Beta Bucks Deluxe is essentially guys who are only able to have any success with women because they're able to provide, and these women tend to not particularly respect that. That's the kind of loser husband that a woman kind of feels that she's stuck with just because he generates income. That's the kind of as a woman would say, it's like that type of husband is just another child to them. That kind, unlike the kind of men that they find attractive, who they're willing to.
For viewers who may not know, you have a child and an ex-wife. Is that correct? Or two children? Two children. Yeah.
Yes. But I do not like to talk about my own personal process here because my children speak English, and I don't really want some of these details there. So I'd rather talk about other people I know.
All right. No, I was just cluing people in, that you're how should I say, in the game. You know what I mean? You know what you're talking about. You're not talking out of your ass.
Tell you that I am someone who I went from complete beta male loser, complete and total loser, to someone who, you know what? The real hard part is building that. A strong marriage is the hardest thing to do, but banging a lot of chicks is it's not nearly as hard. So at least I've gotten to the midway point of that, because ultimately the real thing that's the real success, the hard part, is the actual building of that man and woman, that husband and wife that creates the stable family and all the million kids and all that. That's the hard part. But still things are still a lot cheerier than they were when I was 16. I'll tell you that much.
The reason that I wanted to bring that up is it being International Men's Day, lol,
Yeah.
which was brought to my attention by a random ad on Instagram. Instead of any other social activist or anybody else that I follow. In any case, did anybody wish you happy International Men's Day today?
Well, no, because in Russia, Men's Day is February 23rd. But the interesting thing about that is Men's Day here is actually sort of like it's a Day of the Defenders of the Fatherland. So it's interesting. So women get a holiday just for being women, just for existing, and
Yeah.
men get it through service in the military. So it goes back to this dynamic you'll hear in a lot of like red pill manosphere content that women sort of just are born and have to be wonderful. To be loved and sort of maintain themselves, whereas men have to become and have to do something, and so we bear that.
So the short answer is no. The short answer is no. You did not.
No one did, but they might on February 23rd. But then I have to publicly, pronounce my shame that I only served in the Russian military as part of a reality show for 7 days. Hated every minute of it. Absolutely every minute of it. The military life is not for me, man. I was not cut out.
You served more than I did. You served more than I did. That's
well, there
all I
you
can
go.
say.
So yeah.
Let's get back on topic. A real man. What is a real man to you? I went around and got some bunch of random quotes. So let's see what this one says. A real man never hurts a woman. Be careful when they make you cry, because God's counts her tears. The woman came out of a man's rib, not from his feet to be walked on, not from his head to be superior, but from his side to be an equal, and underarm to be protected, and next to the heart to be loved.
Total BS. Women like drama. They like drama, and a lot of women like fighting and arguing and all that stuff. And to be honest, I'll tell you one thing that I never understood as a kid. Once every 3 or 4 months, my father. So I know my mom's probably listening. My mom listens to everything. So, Mom, don't get angry at me, okay? But I got to tell the truth. Yeah, hi, Mom. So once every 3 or 4 months, I would just notice that my dad would just sort of randomly hurt my mom's feelings for no reason, okay? And I've never, it's like he'd just come up to her and be like, hey there, fat ass. When my mom was always in perfect physical shape, okay? So in kilograms, I think my mom is like 45 kilograms, which is like 110 pounds or something. So my mom was never, ever even close to being obese, something like that. And she'd get mad at him. But the thing is, I think because people obviously don't know him. My dad is what Richard Cooper would call the plugged in alpha. Like he acts like Giga Chad, but he's never thought about it. Like he hasn't sought there and like philosophized about strategies. But I'll put it this way. Those sort of little bits of drama, little bits of conflict, women kind of need that because there's this theory that I think is true that men would rather have zero emotions than negative emotions, an absence of emotions, whereas women would rather have negative emotions than an absence of emotions. Because I'm sure you've probably heard from some woman, you've talked to her about relationships or whatever, and she's like, well, he didn't
be doing my surprised face.
Oh wow! You agree with me, but anyways, you've probably heard some woman saying, "Well, she'll be like, well, if this girl you're dating, if she doesn't respond, that means she doesn't love you." As in, no emotions, being cold, that's the bad thing. But if she's like thinking about you every day and fighting with you constantly, that means she probably actually loves you or something by that logic. So they kind of like the conflict. They like when there's drama. Look at women's entertainment. It's all Raul slept with Francesca on this Mexican soap opera, right? Everyone's sleeping around, everyone's betraying each other. Did you hear what some person said to that person?
That's exactly the culture that I was talking about. That like Mexican soap opera shit got to Serbia way before, and Yugoslavia way before the bombs did. You know what I mean? And that culture has only the like station at the time, which used to have porn in 2:00 in the morning, state broadcaster, now is a conglomerate of like 17 TV stations and basically is the official or one of the official like spokes venues for the Serbian president. You know what I mean? And they have 24-hour reality shows as well going on, it's like brainwashing, and it's all leading to the degeneration of culture. Back on the
there's
quotes.
that fact, but here one thing. Why does it degenerate? Because it works. Because it plays into that sort of a really emotional disease, an emotional need to hear all this stuff, to hear all this drama and all that stuff. So again, it goes back to your previous meme was about never cause a woman to cry. Well, the thing is that people get over it, and sometimes conflict is actually kind of a natural part of a relationship. And if you as the guy constantly back down, then what happens? You seem weak and you seem spineless, and then all of a sudden you're really not attractive. Whereas if there's some sort of argument and you are there and you're the big tough guy and you're the authority, and even if she kind of cries or flips out or whatever, the attraction stays, and
So you're saying it's good to play through the dance moves in order to finish the dance, huh?
Basically, yeah. But the thing is, you as the dance, remember, at least in the olden days, there was sort of a male, the lead dancer and more male dances, and the female sort of follows the lead of the man, and there are more female-oriented dance moves, right? And if we obey that logic, because it's kind of like saying, hey, why don't you go out there and dance like a woman? Go out there, Tim, and dance like Britney Spears, or I don't know who the person would be today. You know what I mean? It's just you can't. It just doesn't work. And if you try to, you look like a clown.
Let's do another quote. This one is by Trip Lee. Do you happen to know who Trip Lee is? I don't.
No, I don't.
Have you got another window where you can Google it? Google it while I read it out.
I have to do research now. What is this? I thought I was the guest.
Man, you are a guest. You're like one of the core guests. That's why I feel so welcome with you. And plus, you're gonna mirror this, so it's like I'm a guest too. So there you go.
True. I'm mirroring everything, man. As soon as I saw that mainstream people, they just do interviews and then they wait a day and post the interview on their own channel, I was like doubling the content. Anyways, Trip Lee is William Lee Bearfield III, and he was born in 1987, so he's an old fart like I am. Better known by his stage name, Trip Lee is an American Christian rapper and singer. Oh, so he's a religious rapper.
All right. Young men just don't know what it means to be a man. There's so many lies about what it means to be a man, whether that be get a bunch of girls or get a bunch of money or don't cry and don't have emotions. Nobody's teaching them how to be men. So, what would you have to say, Tim?
The thing is, he kind of ends that quote a little bit early because he says, they don't teach people how to be men. Okay, so if this concept of masculinity is wrong, what does the real one look like? And from what he's saying, it's kind of a little bit wimpy sounding because, the thing is that, again, one of the reasons, like we have men and we have women, right? And if we look at things through that good old-fashioned lens of evolutionary psychology, it's sort of like, what is men's purpose? It's to go out and get stuff. So I mean, if you're just completely obsessed with money and money is everything, that's obviously not good for your spirit, and that's not probably the best way in life. But I'll put it this way: if you're a man and you have resources, you become much more attractive. And even without the resources, if women view you as successful, and remember, that's the way women view success, through their mysterious way of looking at the universe, then you're attractive. You know what I mean?
Okay, I got a counter question for you, because far you've been describing.
We're just going on so many tangents. Let's stay with this quote. What?
I know that, it's a talk. It's not an interview. It's not structured. We're just talking.
We reject structure here. We're amorphous. Okay, fine.
Yes.
Let's be postmodern.
No, listen.
Let's go full postmodernism.
I didn't know you were going to insult me.
That's not an insult.
Postmodern? Come on, man. That's an insult.
My sense of humor is very postmodern, sir. That's one thing I don't like about myself, and it's inconsistent. You know what I mean? Like, for some reason, despite the fact that I believe in traditional values and I'm kind of fighting for it through my semi-political online career, if someone shares a meme where, like, you've got like a can of beans that has been pooped on by a bird, and someone makes a good pun about it, I'm like, game on. That is my humor. Or just weird shadows and stuff. Anyways.
So what I wanted to interject about is that so far from what I've been hearing, or at least the impression that I get, and the audience may agree or may not, that you're describing what a man should be from a perspective of a woman. But what should a man be from the perspective of a fellow man? As in,
Oh.
how does a man's behavior towards women and or towards other men dictate whether he is a real man or not?
Well, they're
What-
kind of similar, man.
What
I mean,
aspects?
they really are. Because,
What
like,
aspects?
well, obviously, since we're obviously not attracted to other men, but let's just say, do you feel respect for a guy who's successful? Again, let's do that. Of course, this is successful in our eyes, whatever that
Not
means, our
necessarily.
masculine view. But, you
Not
know, you're like,
necessarily, man.
what?
I don't necessarily like what like what's his name? Soros, for example. Is he successful? Is he somebody that I should feel respect for? No, man. Fuck that. That doesn't make him a man.
But the thing is that, but then he's
That
also
doesn't make
kind
him a
of
man.
evil.
And his son is successful, the younger one, by measure of probably many women who've slept with him. But should I find him a man?
Okay,
A
well,
real
how about-
man?
how about
No. What
Would
the
you?
fuck?
Would you?
Yeah.
Okay, if we could click our fingers, and you could magically become to have the same position and function in society as George Soros, but not be 90 years old, be
Yeah,
the same
or
age
his
you
son,
are.
whatever, yeah.
You'd become his son, but of course you have free will. You don't have to do what he did with his money. You could do the exact opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you kind of want to? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
Like
that's
I don't
not the
like,
question.
I'm not really into music, dude, at all. I'm not into music. It's probably my least interesting thing. But
All right.
you know, living the life of like Mick Jagger in like the 70s, like that
Mhm.
does sound kind of interesting. So I think we could sometimes say that we maybe could say that yes, George Soros is definitely successful, okay, but he's evil.
But is he? But is
But
he a
you can't
man?
argue
Is
with
he a
success.
man? Like, could you say that he's a man, a real man,
He's
or
an
his son,
evil
for
man.
that matter?
His son probably not. I think his son inherited everything, and as soon as the old man croaks, I think that son of his is just gonna. He gives off very soy boy vibes, and you know he didn't like live through World War II. I think the soy is just gonna
He
absorb him.
he wasn't a Nazi 1.0. He was a Nazi, you know, like fans of nuts. Nazi.
Planters Peanuts. Everyone loves the Mr. Peanut with his monocle and cane. What a devilish gentleman.
In any case, getting back to the subject at hand, what is a man and International Men's Day? We've got
Yes.
another quote. Theodore Roosevelt. A boy who is going to make a great man must not make up his mind merely to overcome 1,000 obstacles, but to win in spite of 1,000 repulses and defeats. Theodore
Yeah,
Roosevelt.
that is another tendency that men have, which kind of makes us more likely to be addicted to things, is that men will sometimes keep trying over and over and over again till they succeed. Men deal with failure much better than women do. Yeah, so there's a lot of truth to that. And in a lot of ways, men sort of trying again and again to overcome and succeed is a big part of it. And a lot of successful people have a lot of failures. Donald Trump has had business failures, although
Obviously.
I think, you know, well, it's not obvious to everyone. A lot of people just think that one day you wake up and you're just this genius, and you're a genius, you make a bunch of money. Although I think he's kind of a fraud. Elon Musk has had a lot of failures along the way, but I think he's going to have some critical failures in the future. You know, Putin's had some failures. Trust me, with not everything works perfectly in Russia after 20 years of his rule. A lot of things have gotten good. I am loyal to the emperor, and he has saved the country.
So,
but
time
not
out.
everything was
You
perfect.
bring up Putin. Let's talk about Putin. Is Putin a man? Is Putin a real man? What
Yes,
makes
and
Putin?
he is-
Obviously, I'm saying obviously, like he's a real
Yeah,
man.
because
But what
one
makes
thing
Putin?
is-
Is it because he rides a bear and has that picture of him on bare chested on a horse? Is that what makes him a man? Because I don't think that's what makes him a man.
Well, he's definitely powerful. If masculinity is connected to power, he is definitely a powerful individual. President Putin is also very stoic. He does not make decisions based on emotions. Like, you don't just see Putin on a whim, because on the one hand, some people who are kind of like your classic blowhard type of person who are just like, yeah, we'll kill those guys. We'll kill those guys. That's essentially a more sort of angry masculine version of being hysterical. And if we do pride men in being sort of less emotional, or at least in control of their emotions, then Putin is a really good example. You don't see him getting, even when he does get sort of half angry, he doesn't lose control. He doesn't let things slip. You know what I mean? So yeah, he's and also he has you know, the black belt in judo and some sort of extremely high rank that's not a black belt in. Oh no, he's a judo master and sambo expert or black belt. Anyways, he's done a bunch of martial arts, and that's cool, and that's very manly, and he's really become really successful at it even before he was president. And he can play hockey, so he taught himself to play hockey as an adult. So like it's kind of stuff like that where you build up these different factors of, you know, he's tough, he's got the control of his emotions, he has a lot of power, and with power comes wealth. We don't know how much money he has, but he's obviously not broke. And that kind of comes together into the type of man that other men would. It's what's the classic expression? The man that women want and men would want to be. And Putin is that kind of guy, you know?
How much time have you got for me today?
Plenty.
Yeah? You
Because
want
I knew this would be a dark rabbit hole, and as soon as I mentioned having sex with a lot of women, I'd get in trouble with my female audience, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to burn that bridge just for you. And for me.
All right. What can I say? Do you want to take a little pause here and call this a 40-minute episode? And
it's already 40 minutes?
It's already 40 minutes, man.
Oh my gosh. I don't think we actually even touched the surface of the issue.
I know, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So like we'll leave it on a cliffhanger and have everybody
cliffhanger ending. This is the first time I've had a cliffhanger ending to a podcast.
I think
brother make it to the next episode. Will Tim's female audience unsubscribe? Find out next week.
Find out tomorrow, maybe the day after.
Maybe tomorrow. Yeah.
For the end, we've got a John Wayne quote. A man's got to have a code, a creed to live by, no matter his job. John Wayne.
Okay. And then John Wayne he pretended to be the toughest man on the planet, and no one ever challenged him.
Basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, Tim, anything to say as we sign off?
I would say, I don't know, again, with the sort of all jokes aside, is that if some of you have had a lot of trouble with women and you are part of this sort of miserable group of people, is kill the beta male inside yourself. It's possible. I did it. It requires a little bit of research and thinking, but the real thing that's going to hold you back is feeling sorry for yourself. Starting the whole, well, I don't know, I'm kind of going through depression, or no. Gotta shake yourself out of it, because when the push comes to shove, being a man is about performance.
Get out, meet people. Get out, meet people. Walk in the sun, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
or at least physical activity.
To be honest, we try to meet people online and to make real life. But yeah, you can't be completely disconnected from real life. That is never a winning thing. I can even tell you that I knew one guy who used to organize gatherings for juggalos. Are you familiar with the World of the Insane Clown Posse, sir?
No.
Okay, so there are two rappers in America who sort of have like a clown gimmick. Okay, and anyways, I knew one guy, real shy, kind of quiet guy, but he would organize events for this, and because he was so good online and he had such a big online personality and organized this stuff, no problem with chicks, none. And he would really meet that typical sort of computer nerd sort of thing. So in some ways, he built clout within this particular community, and it paid off. So I'm not saying you don't have to become like Arnold Schwarzenegger in the prime of his career to be a non-virgin. You can become like my buddy who organized Insane Clown Posse events.
Don't become like Schwarzenegger. He's a Nazi. He even has a Nazi belt. Go look for Schwarzenegger's Nazi belt. Google it. For
really?
Who stuck around to the end.
He also has low standards, man. Did you see that maid he banged? Whoa. he lost his wife over that maid. Wow.
No comments. In any case, everybody who stuck around to the end, thank you. Like, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. And leave a comment. Let me know. Did you hear that it was International Men's Day before this upload? Let us know. Thank you. Have fun. See you soon.